We are back from our 30-second timeout, and we are here. It's actually more like a 3-minute timeout. That was Favorite House Atlantic by, I don't remember the name of that band.
Coheed and Cambria.
Coheed and Cambria, of course.
Great song.
Good looking out. What's going on? Oh, yeah,
we're going to the South,
yeah.
as Dina would say. You gotta love the South. With that, though, we're going to start with the Dukies. We're getting Dickie V's walking in as we speak, but before that, let's quickly do some picks here. Duke. You got him over in the playing game, Winthrop or Arkansas playing Buffy. You go with your boy.
Dino.
I think. Well, who do you guys have with the playing?
I'm gonna go with
I have Winthrop.
I'm going with Winthrop.
Winthrop only because they always find a way in the actual tournament.
Yeah.
They even upset.
They've upset some teams. They don't stand a chance against Duke.
Experience.
Yeah.
All right, that's easy. Who do you play, Cal or Louisville?
Oh,
Louisville?
I like Patino and Bill.
Yeah, me too. I like the Bill. It's going to be a close game, though. Eggers also has to control his emotions.
I like the Pac-10 in football. I'm a Pac-10 guy and a Big Ten guy, but I don't like Pac-10 basketball this year.
Jerome Randall and Hales Franciscan, Illinois product kid, tremendous player. This is going to be a great matchup, Eggers also and Jerome Randall. Might be, just might be, maybe the best matchup in the tournament, first round, that's under the radar at least. So we're taking the Bill, though. About 5-12, A&M, and Utah State. I love the Aggies.
Yeah,
Mark Turgeon, their head coach, he led the Wichita State Shockers. Sweet 16 a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So I'm liking A&M right now.
Yeah, I like A&M.
All right, 4-13, Purdue, Siena. Closest point spread as far as 4-13 matchups are concerned.
You and I talked about this last night.
We did.
And it comes down to, if Hummel's there, I like Purdue in the Elite Eight. I like him even for Final Four.
I mean, depending on because they'd be a 2 or 3 seed if they had Hummel.
Yeah. Watching the way they played against Minnesota, though, was huge.
Yeah.
And Siena's a team that's known to upset once in a while.
They have 4 scores averaging 10+.
And I still think Purdue is immensely talented.
Yep.
I just think that they're not talented enough for the tournament, and I think Siena is going to upset them.
You need Keaton Grant and each one more to stay healthy. They have big time games.
Jawan Johnson
down low has to be the difference maker, and Chris Kramer has got to put up a couple points.
Yeah.
Defensive player of the year in the Big Ten last year, but only averaged about 5-6 points a game. He needs more than that against Ronald Moore and the Siena Saints. They have 4 scores averaging 10 points. So Purdue, I love their defense, but I'm going to still take them just to win one game here. I'm going to take Matt Painter in the defense of Purdue. It's going to be like a close game, 63-61 type of game. I think they're going to win by 2 points.
Game's also out, though, in Spokane, Washington.
Correct.
And Purdue is not known to travel well, especially west, which is the other reason I like Siena.
Okay.
I'm taking Purdue as well.
Okay.
They're going to get one game.
One game. We're not giving them much.
Yeah.
All right. We'll get back to that in a second between Purdue and A&M. But first, Notre Dame 6-11 matchup with Old Dominion.
Notre Dame.
Like the Irish.
They're too hot.
That's a quick
They're
They're too high right now.
Yeah.
All right. 3-14 Baylor and Sam Houston State. I know Dino likes the guys from Texas, both teams here. There should be a Final Four matchup, he said, I thought.
Baylor's still one of the hottest teams in the country along with Notre Dame, and I just think that those two are destined to match up there.
Yeah, the Baylor Bears are probably one of my top teams to watch in the country right now. They're probably one of the most athletic teams.
Yeah.
There are 2 guards like Darius Dunn and little Tweety Bird, Tweety Carter, point guard to look out for. Stud guards that can shoot the rock, but the guy to watch out for, he's almost Dwight Howard-esque almost for college players. I'm trying to imagine that.
Yeah.
Quincy Acey, 6'7" sophomore only. Highlight reel, shot blocker, slam dunker, jumps out of the building. I love Baylor. They just got to step it up a little bit on defense because they play zone and sometimes they give up some. Sometimes they get gashed and they give a lot of threes.
Yeah.
They got to box out a bit better. But I like the Baylor Bears at least to move on and take on Notre Dame. 7-10, one of the top matchups for mid-majors. Richmond and St. Mary's. These are the only matchup in the country right now with 2 mid-majors going off against each other. Richmond, the 7th seed, of course. Great guard you talked about, David Gonzalez. Matched up against St. Mary's, Mickey McConnell, great shooter as well for St. Mary's. Everybody's jumping on the Richmond bandwagon. But I'm not counting on St. Mary's. However, I'm still going with Spiders. Spider-Man.
Yeah, Richmond.
Richmond? All right.
Spidey senses.
Nova or Robert Morris? I know Dino took Robert Morris. I'm going with Nova.
Nova.
Okay.
For sure.
So second round matchups now we got Duke and the Ville 1-9. Patino Coach K, tremendous matchup. Becker Sosa already talked about.
Yeah.
They need to pound the ball to Samardo Samuels more. Yeah. But Brian Zubek, 7-footer, they're not going to front him. They're going to let Zubek play behind Samuels. The shooters for Louisville have to shoot lights out to keep this game close. However, too much Kyle Singler. The Plumlee brothers.
John Shire.
Too much Shire.
No, Smith.
Yeah.
I think the guy that's going to step out and make a name for himself this tournament for Duke will be Mason Plumlee. Write that name down. Mason Plumlee, I think, is going to have a huge tournament off the bench for Duke. Remember, they got Zubek and Lance Thomas, and they also have Mason and Miles Plumlee, the Plumlee
John
brothers.
Shire.
So well, John Shire,
That's key.
he's key, but the bigs for Duke could be the difference. I love the rebounding, so I'm going with Duke.
Duke.
All right.
Yeah.
Purdue A&M. I have A&M. I love the Aggies.
Yeah. I don't see Purdue getting any farther than.
A&M. I think, to be honest,
Siena.
I think the Big 12 is very underrated in terms of its depth this year.
It is. It's
You
the
have
second best
Kansas
conference
State
in
and
the Big
Kansas
East.
is talked about, but no one talks about anyone else. I like A&M moving on there.
All right. Notre Dame, Baylor. The Irish are hot, but so are the Baylor Bears. I love Quincy Lace. Darius Dunn's the difference maker. I'll take him over Ben Hansbrough and Torrey Jackson. So I'm going with the Baylor Bears, 3/6.
Yeah, I have Baylor. Same thing. I just
He
think
agrees.
I think
There's
the
too
Big
much
12.
athleticism.
Yeah.
Cody's gonna
Yeah.
have to have a huge game.
Yeah.
But besides him, somebody else has to put some double figures up.
Yeah.
Tim Abromaitis is going to have to put 15, 20 points on the board.
Yeah.
And he has to,
Which
he could do. He's been doing that.
And
Most
Baylor does
improved
give up
player.
a lot of threes.
They
Yeah.
do.
That's what worries me.
Yeah.
And that
And
not
that-
really worries me.
yeah.
It makes me kind of happy, but.
So who are you going with? Any doubt?
Mm,
Where is there doubt?
this is a tough one for me. This is hard.
It's be a great game.
Yeah. Because I have a lot riding on this pick. Just say that.
Really?
Yeah.
You like the so some people doubt your Irish. So I might just throw them out there and say you
I
got them.
kind of want to go with Baylor here. I think I'm going to go Baylor.
All right.
Just because of the athleticism.
All right. Richmond, Nova, 2-7 matchup. I got Nova moving on. Scotty Reynolds, Corey Fisher, Corey Stokes,
Yeah.
Malik Waynes. They're loaded at the guard position. They lack the forwards. Taylor King, one of their bigs, he's more like a guard. Duke transfer last year.
Yeah.
He could shoot the three. Remember, he had to sit out last year at Nova with the transfer. But I like Nova or Richmond, despite Doug Gottlieb and some other experts thinking Richmond can move on because they're that mid-major team.
Yeah.
But I think this Villanova team, based off experience, and Jay Wright is a tremendous tournament coach.
Yeah.
I'm taking Villanova over Richmond, second round.
Yeah, like Nova.
Nova?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Sweet 16, Duke A&M. This games are played in the South Reliance Stadium where the Houston Texans play in the Sweet 16. Duke and A&M, which favors A&M. It's in the same state, so that could, Duke still travels well. A&M's going to give Duke all they can handle. It's going to be a very close game early on. David LeBeau, down low for A&M, is going to give Duke some fits. But Duke, it's Larry Fitzgerald. But I love Dash Harris, B.J. Holmes, and Donald Sloan for A&M. I really think this could be an upset pick, but I'm going with Duke still. Very close game, though.
Yeah.
This game's in Texas, and A&M has a pair of guards, 3 guards, B.J. Holmes, Donald Sloan, and Dash Harris. I think they can match up very well with Duke.
Yeah.
But for some reason, Duke's defensively and rebounding down low much better this year. That's the difference maker for them. So I got Duke.
I got Duke. Duke's bound to have some more tournament success than they have in the last couple of years, and I just think that they're talented enough, they're deep enough that as good as A&M is, I still think they'll pull through at the end. They got John Shire is a guy, or Kyle Singler at the end.
Big three last night for Shire. But Singler's the guy's been playing amazing for Duke. He's more like that 2 guard, but he plays with the 3 position for him. He's been shooting lights out for Duke. So yeah, we both got Duke. Is it a sweep?
Yeah, I have Duke.
Sweep? All right.